Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Yashoda Nandana Praja Janaranjana Yashoda Nandana Praja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Praja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Praja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Praja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Chira Prabhupada, Jaya Pada Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Chira Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parikacharya Astota Satsi Simat Esi Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Shira Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Namacharya Shira Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Mayapur Dham Ki Ganga Maya Ki Tulasi Devi Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Harinam Sankirtan Ki Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devam Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudírayet. Nastapraeshu Bhatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki. Tada Rajastamo Bhava Kamaloba Dayaschaye. Chetaye Tayanavidam Stitam Sattvam Prasidati. Evam Prasana Manaso Bhagavat Bhakti Yogataha. Bhagavat Tattva Vikyanam Mukta Sangasya Jayate. Vidyate Hridaya Kantas Chityante Savasamsaya. Kshiyante Chasya Kamani Trishta Evat Manishvare. Shuklam Brahma Vichada Sada Padamam Adyam Jagat Vyapinim Vina Pustakadharinim Avayadam Chatyandakadapaham Haste Spatikamalikam Vitatatim Padmasane Samstitam Vande Tam Padameshvarim Bhagavatim Bodhipadam Sharadam. Bodhipadam Sharadam. This Bhagavatam, it's here. So we are reading from the fourth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 13th chapter. The chapter is entitled The Activities of the Prachetas. Text number 47. Tatra Vashishtaye Vriksha Bita Duhitaram Tada Ucharuste Prachetopya Upadishtaha Swayambhuva Tatra Vashishtaye Vriksha Bita Duhitaram Tada Ujaruste Prachetopya Upadishtaha Swayambhuva Tatra Vashishtaye Vriksha Bita Duhitaram Tada Ujaruste Prachetopya Upadishtaha Swayambhuva. Tatra Vashishtaye Vriksha Bita Duhitaram Tada Ujaruste Prachetopya Upadishta Swayambhuva. Tatra Vasishtaye Vriksha Bita Duhitaram Tada Ucharuste Pachetopya Upadishta Swayambhuva Tatra Vasishtaye Vriksha Bita Duhitaram Tada Ucharuste Pachetopya Upadishta Swayambhuva Tatra Vasishtaye Vriksha Pita Duhitaram Tada Ucharaste Pachetopya Upadishta Swayambhuva. Mataji. Tatra Vasishtaye Vriksha Pita Duhitaram Tada Ucharuste Pachetopya Upadishta Swayambhuva. Tatra, there, avashishtaha, remaining, ye, which, vrikshaha, trees, pitaha, being afraid, duhitaram, their daughter, tada, at that time, ucharuhu, delivered, te, they, prachetopya, unto the prachetas, upadishtaha, being advised, swayambhuva, by Lord Brahma. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The remaining trees, being very much afraid of the prachetas, immediately delivered their daughter at the advice of Lord Brahma. Purport. The daughter of the trees is referred to in text 13 of this chapter. This daughter was born of Kandu and Pramlocha. This society girl Pramlocha, after giving birth to the child, immediately left for the heavenly kingdom. While the child was crying, the king of the moon took compassion upon her and saved her by putting his finger into her mouth. This child was cared for by the trees, and when she grew up by the order of Lord Brahma, she was delivered to the prachetas as their wife. The name of the girl was Marisha, as the next verse will explain. It was the predominating deity of the trees that delivered the daughter. In this connection, Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhupada states, Vrikshaha tat adhishtadri devataha. The trees means the controlling deity of those trees. In Vedic literatures, we find that there is a controlling deity of the water. Similarly, there is a controlling deity of the trees. The prachetas were engaged in burning all the trees to ashes, and they considered the trees their enemies. To pacify the prachetas, the predominating deity of the trees, under the advice of Lord Brahma, delivered the daughter of Marisha. Om Agyana Timirandasya Kinanjana Shalakaya Shakshun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manopistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sahagana Ragunatam Tam Sajivam Sattvetam Savadutam Parajana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Panamami Hari Priye Vansha kalpatarupyascha kripa sindhupa eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Tatra Vasishtaye Vriksha Beta Duhitaram Tada Ujaraste Prachetopya Upadishtaha Swayambhuva. The remaining trees, being very much afraid of the Prachetas, immediately delivered their daughter at the advice of Lord Brahma. So first I would like to take all your blessings, because it's been a long time since I've given class, more than 1 year ago, and I'm a little bit afraid, and I actually, without the mercy of the Vaishnavas, we cannot say anything, because without their blessing, nothing will come actually. So I beg that you give some. So here in this shloka, it is explained that Tatra Avashishtaye Vriksha, that Avashishtaye Vriksha, those trees who were Avashishta, remaining, they were very afraid, because many trees were already burned by the Prachetas. We know in the last shloka it was explained that the Prachetas, there was a fire coming from their mouth and they were burning all the trees, because they were in the water for more than 10,000 years. Under the order of their father, they were going for tapasya, and when they came out, the whole world was full of trees. And they wanted to make again a civilization, so they considered that the trees were an obstacle. So they started to burn all these trees. And here they said, some avashishta, some trees they were remaining, and beta, they were very afraid, because they were going to be burned also. But then it is said here, Upadishtaha Swayambhuva. Swayambhuva is another name for Lord Brahma. So Lord Brahma came because he wanted to stop that the Prachetas would burn all the trees. So Upadishtahas, he gave the instruction to the Prachetas that Duhitaram, they should give their daughter to the Prachetas. And in this way they could be pacified. So this daughter is explained as Marisha. Her name was Marisha. And she was the daughter of actually Kandu, the Rishi Kandu and Brahmlocha. Brahmlocha was an Apsara, beautiful heavenly damsel, and Rishi Kandu was very powerful actually. He was almost on the level of Vishwamitra Muni. We know that Vishwamitra Muni had so many cities. He was such a powerful yogi. And similarly, Rishi Kandu, he was performing severe austerities. It is explained in the Shastra that he was sitting in the fire, in the heat, in the summer season, surrounded by fire, meditating. In the winter, he was taking on very wet clothes, and he was going into the ice and meditating. And he was developing so much Shakti. Tejasvi tapasa dipto. It was explained that he was glowing actually because of his tejas and his tapasya. So when Indra saw this kind of austerity, we know that he always becomes afraid. So in this case, he also became afraid. And he actually sent this Apsara Brahmlochan to make him fall down, to bewilder him from the path of his tapasya. So Brahmlochan, she came and she Drishtvastriyam Davamayam Tadbhavaya Chitendra. She did many movements very seducing to the Rishi Kandu, and finally he fell down. It is explained that she was using, like the Kamadev was using the eyes of Brahmlochan. You know, Kamadev has 5 arrows. You know the arrows of Kamadev? Like, is explained that the eyebrows of the woman is like the arrow. No, not the eyes are the arrow and the bow is the eyebrows. So this Brahmlochan, Kamadev used Brahmlochan to make him fall down. And she shot 5 arrows. It's called as Mohana. First, any object, Kamadev shoots the arrow, it's called Mohana, fascination for the object. Like maybe the opposite sex, or maybe some other object also. So Kamadev shoots the first arrow and we get fascination for this kind of object. And then Stambhana, the second arrow is called Stambhana. That arrow paralyzes us, and we again and again have to look at this particular object. We try to look away, but somehow our concentration is not, and it's going back to the object. That is called the second arrow. And Unmadana is the third arrow. It is the arrow which makes one completely intoxicated for the object. Shoshana, the fourth arrow, it develops an intense attraction. And Tapana, it pierces the deep chambers of the heart. That's why many people, they commit suicide when they fall in love, because this is actually going very deep in the heart. It pains like anything, and the world is coming to an end inside. So this is what happened actually to this rishi. So he was now united with this Brahmlochan, and many days and nights passed. Actually, it is explained in the Vishnu Purana in the 15th chapter, in the first Amsha text number 32, that 907 days and 6 months and 907 years, 6 months and 3 days passed in the assembly of Brahmlochan. And in the evening, at the end of this 907 years, Rishi Kandu, he was going for Sandhya Vandanam. He wanted to, Sandhya Vandanam, it's like 3 days, the junction of the day. So in this particular time, the sadhana becomes very fruitful because it's an opening. It's not the day and night, and it's very easy to do sadhana. So at the night time, in the Sandhya, he wanted to do a Sandhya Vandanam. He was just about to go. And Brahmlochan, she asked him where he is going. And he said, I'm going for Sandhya Vandanam. And then she was wondering why all the years he never went for this Sandhya Vandanam. She was bewildered, and she asked him, and he said, in the morning you came, and now it's evening, and I'm going for the Sandhya Vandanam. So actually what happened, by the influence of Maya, he could not understand that so many years had passed. He was thinking that Brahmlochan came in the morning, and now it's evening, and he was going for Sandhya Vandanam. And then Brahmlochan, this Apsara, she tried to convince the Rishi. This was a very powerful Rishi. He was not an ordinary yogi, but very powerful. She tried to convince him that so many years had passed, but she was not able to convince him, because he was completely bewildered actually. So then finally she did something with logic. She came and gave him the understanding that actually so many years had passed. And at that point, he realized that he lost all his tapasya actually. He had engaged in so much materialistic things. He was not engaged in a sadhana anymore. He lost his tapasya and he became very weak. So then he started to, he was becoming very angry, it is explained. And he was becoming angry, and Brahmlochan, this society girl, this Apsara, was very afraid, She was trembling, and in like this, how do you say, perspiration, this drops of sweat were coming, like fear, because of fear, because she was thinking this rishi is very powerful, he will curse me. But he was thinking that, he was understanding that actually he was sending this girl, so he didn't do anything, and he was just angry and sent her away. And she went again to the heavenly planets. And on the way, when she touched the trees, the semen of Kandu Rishi was already inside the body of Brahmlochan. And when she touched the trees, the sweat, some pearls of sweat, fell on the leaves of the trees. And from that leaves, and from that sweat, this Marisha, this girl was born. This girl of Kandu Rishi and Brahmlochan. So in this way, this Kandu Rishi, afterwards, he became very depressed actually, because he lost all his tapasya. He realized now that he was very weak actually on the spiritual platform. And actually his depression became so strong that he wanted to commit suicide actually. And he was just about to commit suicide, and then some voice from the sky came. And this voice told Kandu Rishi that he should go to Purushottam Kshetra, to Jagannath Puri. So he went, and he had sadhu sangha there. He was associating with Markandeya Rishi, Maitreya Rishi, and many other rishis. And again he was getting his spiritual strength. And he was worshipping Lord Jagannath, and at the end of his life, Jagannath appeared to him, and he gained a liberation. So this was actually the story. And this Marisha is this daughter which the trees are now giving to the Prachetas under the order of Lord Brahma. So in this verse we can understand that the instruction of Lord Brahma actually saved the trees their life. So because in the beginning they did not offer the daughter, and so many trees were burned to ashes. But then when Lord Brahma came and they gave the daughter, the trees were pacified, and they didn't burn the remaining trees. So in a similar way, it is said that we are suffering under also the forest fire of samsara, this birth and death. And by the instructions of the Mahajans, we can get out of this samsara. Lord Brahma is also considered a Mahajan. We know that Swayambhu, Narada Shambhu, Kumara Kapilamanu, Pralado, Janako Bhishmo, Bali Vaya Sakivayam. There are 12 Mahajans actually. And Mahajana Yeka Katasapanta, they are giving us the way to get out from Maya actually. So I don't know if it's too boring. So the Mahajans, you know, they are very powerful, and their instructions, they can deliver us from Maya, you know. This is actually the point here, that the point here in this verse is that the trees, they were going to be burned to ashes, but then they followed the advice of Lord Brahma and they were saved. So in a similar way in our life, we are suffering under this forest fire of samsara, that we are punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, that we are going birth and death again and again, and we actually don't even realize that we are suffering. Like Deva Maya Vimohita, this Maya is so powerful that even though we are undergoing Adhyatmika Klesha, Adibhautika Klesha, Adidaivika Klesha, Janma Mrityu Jaravyati, we are having so many sufferings in our life, but still we still think everything is okay. And this is explained in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Narakasto bideham vainapram tyaktam icchanti, narakyam nirvato satyam deva maya vimohita. This deva maya is mohita, is bewildering everyone so strongly that even if someone, narakasto, is placed in hell or in a hellish condition of life, nivratam satyam, he will find some pleasure there. And natyaktam icchanti, he will not desire to give up this position. So this is the power of Maya. It actually makes us satisfied in this condition of life where we constantly suffering. We don't actually realize how much we are suffering, and we think everything is okay. And our life goes on, and we die, and again we are born. And in this way, samsara continues. But when we come into the association of the sadhus, the saintly persons, we actually, first we realize that this is suffering, and we get some instructions how to get out from this condition. So the instructions of the sadhus are very powerful. They can pull us out. But to actually completely take the instructions of the sadhus, we need to have sadhu sangha. Because without sadhu sangha, we will not take the instructions seriously, or the instructions will become weak in our life, and we fall back into Maya. So the asat sangha tyag is very important on the spiritual path. You know, there was the story with these animals who were in the forest, and this, probably you know all this story, and the animals were all in the forest, and the lion was always eating all the animals. And then the animals were always afraid, they were always in a fearful situation. And there was the jackal, and the jackal was very cunning. You know, he was like asat sangha, he was a very bad association. And he made a complot, he had an idea to bewilder all the animals. So he said, why don't we make friends with the lion? And all the animals, they said, is not a good idea, because the lion is a very dangerous animal. So then the jackal said, but if we make friends with the lion, then we can live peacefully maybe. And he suggested that every day one animal would go and sacrifice, and the others would be able to live peacefully. And all the animals, they said, it's not a good idea, you know. because we want to live. And then somehow the jackal, he convinced all the animals that better we live, at least we should live peacefully. So then finally, under the asatsanga, under the bad association of this jackal, the animals actually, they surrendered and they made friends with the lion. So the one time it was the turn of the donkey, and you know, the donkey was the one who always thought it was a good idea. So the donkey, he came to the lion, and the lion immediately killed the donkey. And you know, this is a children's story. So the lion at that time, he said, I have to go to the urgent nature call. So then he went, and all the other animals were there, and the lion went, and the jackal was thinking, what can I eat what the lion will not see? Because the lion instructed the jackal that he cannot eat anything unless he has eaten. So then the lion went, and the jackal was thinking what he can eat, and finally he decided to eat the brain, you know. And when the lion came back, he saw that the brain was missing, and then he asked the jackal, I told you not to eat anything. And the jackal said, I didn't eat anything. And then the lion said, but I see the brain is missing. The brain of the donkey is missing. So then the jackal said, no, this donkey doesn't have any brain. So then the lion said, how is that? Because every animal has got some brain. And then the jackal said, no, but this donkey, he doesn't have any brain. So then the lion said, how is that possible? Every animal got brain. And then the jackal said, because if he would have any brain, he wouldn't have come here. So in this way, when we are in asatsanga, we will go to samsara, to this birth and death. We will take this offer of Maya for 100 years. We can stay here and we can enjoy, but there is so much suffering, and at the end there will be death. So when we are in asatsanga, we are satisfied with this temporary life, because we are becoming convinced that it is very important that we should dedicate our life to material advancement. We should make a material career. That is in the association of asatsanga. And we take the wrong instructions, and the spiritual instructions don't have any potency in our life. But if we come in the association of devotees, suddenly when we read Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, when we chant, all our sadhana, it becomes fruitful, it develops some strength. So that is why in the Shastra it is always mentioned that it is a very important principle to asat sangatyak, to give up the association of those who are worldly minded. In the Upadeshamrita we know there are 2 verses, and it is explained 6. The second verse, we should write the 6 principles on our left arm, and the other 6 principles from the 3rd shloka we will write on our right arm. And whenever we have some difficulty in our spiritual life, we should look right and on our right and left arm and see where we are. So interesting, in this 2 shlokas, in both shlokas it is mentioned that we should give up the association of worldly minded people, like even the positive verse and also in the negative verse. You know, atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagaha janasanga. Janasanga means worldly minded association. We should give up. And utsahan nischayat dayat tatat kama bravatanat sangatyagat. We should give up again the association of worldly minded people, because that will destroy our spiritual life. We know in the Shastra there are so many examples, like even, you know, like Kamsa, he was instructed by Vasudeva, and he could understand what Vasudeva was saying. He even said, this is very good instruction, and he understood, it's very good. But then afterwards, he was again going to his bad association, and he was not able to follow or understand the advice of Vasudeva due to his bad association. Similarly, we know there are many others example, like in the case of Lord Ram, this mother, she loved Lord Ram more than her own son. But because she had the bad association of this maidservant, she became spoiled. So Or like Bhishma, we know Bhishma Dev, he was the most powerful warrior on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. He was not supposed, he was actually immortal, no one could actually kill him. But because he took the wrong side, therefore he was killed. Because he was fed by Duryodhana, therefore he could not actually win the war. So when we remain in the asatsanga, then our spiritual life cannot go forward very smoothly, and we will have many difficulties actually. So this asatsanga tyag is very important. So the Mahajans, they give us instructions, and by these instructions we can get out from Maya. And the most important instruction is to give up the bad association and stay in the association of the devotees. Like even Prabhupada on the deathbed, he mentioned that Karanam Gunasangosya Asad Yoni Janmasu. He said that he was just about to die, and Prabhupada, he was speaking this verse that Karanam Gunasangosya, according to our association with the modes of nature, we go up and down in this material world, or we associate with good and bad. And then he said, therefore we have to always stay in the association of devotees, because that will protect us actually. So these are some points. I don't know if you have any questions or comments.
There's many stories where, some rishis are performing a lot of austerities and then they get distracted and it's all gone. So, why is that?
Why? Or
Yeah, why? I mean, Vairagya is supposed to be such a great thing, and you mentioned that we develop teachers. Perform a lot of austerities to get teachers. So, what's the difficulty?
I mean, it's said like, Gaur Govinda Swami, he, like one time there was a disciple and he said, I can conquer Maya. And then Gaur Govinda Swami loudly, he laughed, because Mama Maya Durateya, to overcome Maya is actually impossible, because Maya is very strong. And it is said, the more intense we become in our sadhana, the more strong Maya will also come. She will put more obstacles, because she has to test, that is her nature. It's her unthankful task to test the sadhakas. So therefore this happened to this Kandu Rishi. He was tested actually by Maya. And he lost the test, yeah.
So was it because he was just focusing on the Vairagya, or is it just in general sadhana? Because that's two different things. Like some of the examples that we have, they serve as an example that just by performing austerities, one is not protected from Maya.
Yeah.
But if we take shelter of Krishna, so was it applied?
I mean, in this case, I don't know exactly if he was a bhakti yogi also, but yeah, generally, if there's a yogi and he's performing tapasya and he doesn't have the protection of the Lord, then if he makes one small mistake, he is out actually. But if we are devotee, then even we commit some mistakes, we are somehow protected by the Lord. But in the case of Kandu Rishi, I don't know exactly what kind of yogi he was.
I didn't got who is the god of the trees?
Oh, I don't know also, yeah. The predominating deity, I don't know. Okay.
Sometimes it's the thought this is my bad pollination or
Soma, yeah, then maybe Soma, yeah.
I was mentioning Prabhupada child was crying, the king of the womb took compassion upon her and saved her by putting his finger into her mouth.
Okay, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Krishna Prabhu ki jai.
Das wird immer besser.
Ram Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Sikhai.
Ramakrishna
Habe ich das so gekürzt?
Das hat man dann auch ausgestrahlt.
Ich weiß.
Jetzt sind wir da meistens an der Vorlesung.
So viel leisten. Ja, das ist jetzt eigentlich. Weißt du, er ist sich gewohnt, mit so ein paar tausend Leuten.